One of the best things about last Epoch is how easy it is to respec your hero build with it only taking a few minutes at late game. Now for this reason, many people will run a fast leveling build for levels 1 to 80 before switching to their main build. So for today's video, we'll show off one of the quickest and easiest ways to level the Druid mastery from level 1 to 80. The specific leveling build we'll be running will be a physical swipe werebear build, and it's one of my favourite leveling setups. Now before we do go in, there are two videos that will help you out here and will be relevant. The first is how to auto cast skills, and the second is the fastest way to reach level 100. This is essentially an XP guide. Now let's go in and let's start breaking all this down. We start off here then with an infographic showing off the general progression of the build. I'll try and use infographics where relevant so you can screenshot it, and then you've got the information all collated for future reference, nice easy access. Now with this setup, it's a nice simple one. With these videos I'll always try and do it so that once you spec into a skill you're not having to unspec it at a later date, so we keep this as simple as we can. So at level 1 you'll have Summon Wolf. You want to use this as much as we're not a summon build. It's a nice damage layer at low levels. You want to auto cast this as well, and then it will cast Howl, which is a nice bonus for yourself and the wolf. At level 3 you'll add Fury Leap to the bar, so that gives you some movement. At level 5 you'll add Swipe to your bar as your main spender. You also spec into Swipe at that point. We add Warcry to your bar when you're 10 points into the Primalist. At level 10 we'll spec into Warcry. At level 16 or round about level 16 you unlock the Druid mastery and you want to add Werebear to your bar. At level 20 you'll spec into Werebear. At level 35 you'll spec into Fury Leap, and at level 50 you'll spec into Upheaval. And of course later on in the video I'll tell you exactly how you want to spend the points when you spec into all these different skills. But that is the general progression for the build. Let's go in and let's look at some useful items now for leveling. The difference that good early game gear can make in your character even at low level is pretty incredible. You can see this from the gameplay at the moment. This is on a level 4 character. Now at level 4 or very close to that level you will be able to access your stash from your other characters. You access this via the Keeper's Camp. So if this is your first character, then of course you won't have a lot of the pieces that we'll talk about here, but you can keep an eye out for them dropping whilst you actually level. And of course if this is an alt character and you've played various other ones, then you want to check your stash for the items that we are about to run over. So we start off here with your weapon slot. Now with this part of the video I'll just quickly show off the tooltip. I'm not going to break it down in detail, and I'll maybe give some general information on the item. But we have the Hammer of Laurent first. This is a level 1 unique. This is awesome for level 1. We then want to switch to dual wielding when we can, so Taste of Blood at level 13 can be pretty nice. Cleaver Solution at level 27 is a really nice item as well, and it can give you +1 to all skills. We then move on to a really nice base item. You've got the Eagle Wing. The implicits on this are pretty great. Isn't equipable until level 63 however. On the subject of level 63 you can also equip Hakar's Phoenix. This can give you a whopping, if you have 2 of them, 8 flat crit %, as well as +4 to the majority of our skills. For the next item we have the shield slot. Now personally I would recommend dual wielding on this setup, but if you want to go for a bit more survivability then you can go for the Bastion of Honour. It isn't equipable until level 15, it is a relatively rare drop, but it works so well with strength builds I felt we had to include it in this video. For the helmet slot we have a pretty nice base item here with the Wolf Pelt. That's equipable at level 12. Ideally you would be looking for the Last Bear's Lament. This is a set item. If you have 3 of these set on you gain a whopping 30 strength, which is absolutely huge for our build. That's an additional 120% damage, so that's level 20 you would equip that. We have 2 uniques here for the amulet slot. You've got the Bleeding Heart equipable at level 4. It gives you a huge amount of life leech. Yes, when you auto cast Howl you will actually take some bleed damage, but you can sustain it thanks to this. And you've also got Chimera's Essence. This might be a bit more contentious, this one, but personally I do like it at low level. It gives you increased melee attack speed, up to 160% increased damage when you're in Werebear form, and increased movement speed when you're in Werebear form as well. However, it will lower your resistances across the board. We have two uniques and the set item for the armour slot. You start off with the Falcon at level 1. Doesn't provide a lot of defence, but it allows you to move faster. I really value this at low level. You've then got Uzrael's Pride. This is equipable at level 15 and it gives you a nice amount of damage and survivability. And then we have the second item in the Last Bear set. That's the Last Bear Scorn, and that's level 27 for that one. Just the one unique we have here for the belt slot. This is a Thorn Slinger. This is really great on the setup we're running, and it gives us +1 to the level of physical skills, and it is equipable as early as level 12. For the ring slot, I have a unique that I feature in quite a lot of videos, and the reason it's great is you can equip it at level 1. If you have 2 of these, you can get up to an additional 16% movement speed. So at level 1, if you've got 2 max rolls, that's 32% increased movement speed, so it's pretty amazing. It's the Arboreal Circuit. Of course you will replace it relatively early on, but to get that amount of additional movement speed straight out the gate, really pretty awesome. For the gloves here, we start off with the Stormhide Paws. These are perfect for this setup and you can equip them at level 6. You've then got Fighting Chance. This gives you additional movement speed and damage, but you will take more damage while wearing them. Equipable at level 15. And then finally we've got the final piece of the Last Bear set. That's Last Bear's Fury, equipable at level 31. If you have all 3 pieces, bear in mind you'll get that additional 30 strength, which is huge. And on top of that as well, this will give Swipe a 3% flat crit chance. With the boot slot, we have the Advent of the Erased, equipable at level 16. I really like these for the movement speed. If you get max rolls on the movement speed implicit and modifier, and you also manage to proc haste, which is possible via these when a nearby enemy dies, then that's 50% increased movement speed. Finishing up the items, we have the Relic. We don't have much going on here. An item that could work for you would be the Sage Antler Base, and that's equipable at level 4. Finishing up the gear here, we'll look at some useful modifiers that can come on idols. So your small idol, you can gain physical damage on this. Your humble idol, you can get vitality and physical damage. The stout idol is increased crit strike chance and health. Grand idol is melee crit multiplier when you're transformed, so that's when you're in werebear form, and also physical damage. The large idol is increased health and critical strike avoidance. Huge idol, increased crit strike chance and melee damage. Ornate idol, increased aspect of the shark and lynx duration. This can save us a couple of passive points, which is really nice. So that's gear that you want to look out for whilst leveling. As always, here's a quick infographic just so you can take a screenshot of this, so you've got it all on screen for quick reference. And now for the next section, let's look at the blessings. This section here then is a nice simple one. We'll look at some useful blessings to look out for while you are leveling. Now the roll ranges you see here, they are for your normal rather than your empowered monoliths. So for this setup, you've got Fall of the Outcast, that can give you an additional 6% experience. You have Reign of the Dragons. There's quite a few nice options here, so it's down to you which one you go for. It's really what you feel you need at that particular point in time. You can get 60% physical damage, you can get up to 45% critical strike avoidance, and else you can get up to 12% to all resistances. Finally here we have the Age of Winter timeline. You can get shred physical resistance from this, and it goes up to 20%, so that can be really nice for upping your damage. So yeah, nice simple section that one. Next up, let's look at the point allocation for your passive skill trees. For this section here, we will be using the awesome build planner on lastepochtools.com. Amazing website, make sure to check them out. Now we need 20 points into the Primalist tree before we can start to invest in Druid. So we want to place 8 points into Primal Strength. Strength works incredibly well on our character. It's damage, but on top of that as well, it will give us additional armour. We have 1 point into Harmony of Blades. This allows us to dual wield. Yes, we'll take more damage, but we'll put out a ton more damage. We then put a point into Gift of the Wilderness. It gives us additional health. The main reason we're doing that at this point is so we can put 6 points into Survival of the Pack. This one here increases our melee damage, and melee damage is leached as health as well. With the remaining 4 points we need to place in this tree, I would put them into Gift of the Wilderness, and that takes us up to 20 points and allows us to then go into the Druid tree. To keep these videos simple then, generally I'll try and stay within the specific mastery class that we are covering. However, the Beastmaster has an awesome node at the start here that we really need to put points into, even if we're trying to stay within Druid. It is Earth Sign Strength, so 8 points in this gives us an additional 8 strength, but also damage taken from nearby enemies is reduced by a whopping 16%, so this is just amazing. Now we will, however, jump over to the Druid tree. We start off here then with 5 points into Primordial Resonance, so this one gives us 25% increased damage. If you need the survivability instead, you can place your points into this node or this particular one here. It is down to you. Our next 5 points go into this particular node. It gives us attunement and strength, and quite a few of the abilities on the werebear actually scale with both of them, so that can be nice. We have 5 points going into Focused Wrath. This one increased damage while transformed and reduced rage decay, so it makes it easier to stay in the bear form. We have 5 points up here. This gives us increased attack speed. 5 points into Bushstalker, that's 50% increased crit chance and also health leech on crit, and then 1 point into Rancor. With this there's no rage decay out of combat. Moving on here then, we would place 10 points into Aspects of Night. It gives us 10 additional strength. The great bonus on this is you get increased melee damage per strength in bear or swarm blade form, so we can get a ton more damage with that. We then place 9 points into this particular one here. It's given us the flat melee physical damage. From there we can then move over to Rageborn. Full 10 points into this, it's an increased 150% crit chance, which is awesome. We also gain rage on crit, so that really helps us to keep near enough 100% uptime on werebear. And then we have 10 points left because we take this particular planner to 20 unspent points. That means that would be us at level 80. So if we place the last 10 points into Hideskine, an additional 150 health, which is a decent amount, and maximum health gained as endurance threshold as well. That's 10%, so it means your endurance threshold is essentially 30% of your max health. That really can give you a lot of survivability there. So that is the passive trees. What we'll do in the next section, we've got an infographic here anyway, but what we'll do in the next section is we'll check out the skill tree and the point allocation for that. The first skill that we specialise into would be Swipe, which is our main spender. Now, we're placing 2 points into Way of the Hunt. We get hit damage and we get leech, but it allows us to go further along the tree. We have 1 point into Wengarian Reach, which allows us 2 points into Culling. This particular one gives us a 14% kill threshold, which is fantastic on bosses. We have the full 5 points going into Aspect of the Panther. This will really buff our damage, this particular skill. From here we have 1 point into Feline Hunter, that's increased global attack speed. We have 2 points into Lion Strength, so we can get up to 7 Panther stacks, and we also gain flat melee damage per stack as well. We have 3 points into this particular node. It does give us health regen, but we're not using it for that. We're using it so we can get to Twin Fangs. So this one we put the full 3 points into it. If you're dual wielding with 7 stacks of this particular skill here, Aspect of the Panther, you'll be gaining over 160% critical multiplier, which is just absolutely bonkers. So this is really nice. Now, with 1 additional point left, what you can actually do here, if you don't have Stormhide Pause and you want to have the Stormclaw, you can do that. It's every 3 seconds you'll have a lightning attack. Alternatively, it could go into either Ways of the Hunt or Wengarian Reach. The next skill that we would specialise into would be Warcry. When you use Roar on your werebear, it will be affected by your points into this tree. So starting off, we have Juggernaut for 1 point. We have Berserker for 1 point. This is an incredible buff. We put 5 points into Brutality, which allows us to buff Berserker even more. We get increased duration and stacks. We have 3 points into Fury Strikes. With this, your attack speed will go through the roof. It's insane how quick you will be attacking. We have 2 points into Deep Roar, allowing us to get to Battle Cry. Gives us an increased 100% crit chance for 4 seconds when using Warcry or Roar. 1 point into Ferocity, so we can get another chance to actually have Warcry available when we crit, when the cooldown is available. With 3 points left, I would place 2 points into Staggering Roar and 1 point into Apprehend. So when you use Warcry, it won't push enemies away, it will pull them towards you, so you can then smash them with Swipe. Our next specialisation here then is Werebear form. So we place our first point into Ursine Heart, reason being we want to get to Frenzied Strikes so we can get some sustain so we can stay in Werebear form early game. So full 4 points into that, that's 4 rage gained on hit. We have 1 point into Invigoration, it's health gained on hit or kill, as well as rage gained on hit or kill. We have 3 points into this particular node here. We're not going for the bleed chance, but what we are going for is Skull Crusher. So your Fury Leap tree now applies to Maul, and we will specialise into Fury Leap later on. We have 2 points into Fury of the Maul. This allows us, so after using Maul, we now use Upheaval towards our target, and we will specialise into Upheaval later on in the video as well. If you run a particular setup, which is a setup we will be running, it means when you use Upheaval, it does 30% more damage, and more is that amazing damage multiplier, so that's really awesome. We then move down to here, we've got 1 point into Rip and Tear, allows us to move on to Army Sunderer, 2 points into this, so we can put our last 4 points into Insatiable. So this one here, base crit chance for Maul and Rampage goes up by a flat 8%, and your global increase chance goes up by a whopping 200%. So with this, when you are using Maul, you'll get a lot of crits on this. The next specialisation we have here is Fury Leap, and just bear in mind that due to our Werebear setup, when we cast Maul, we will get the benefits from this particular tree. So we have 5 points in Warrior's Entrance, that's 15 melee damage, a flat amount. We have 1 point in Windhammer, allowing us to get to Brutal Impact. I would put the full 5 points into this for a 100% critical strike multiplier, because even while levelling, we'll have a decent chance to crit on this. We've got 1 point going into Violent Upheaval, so when we use Maul, we'll also be casting Upheaval, which is the last specialisation we're going to look at in just a moment. From there, we can increase the area of this via Crater. We also pull down the mana cost on it, and then for our final 4 points, I would put these into Panther Strike. It's a more multiplier for damage, 24%, and it's a decrease in the cooldown for this particular skill as well. For the final ability here, we have Upheaval, and bear in mind this will be cast when we use Maul. So we start off with 3 points into Unstoppable Strength, we have 1 point into Excavating Blow, and then 1 point into Erupting Earth. So when you cast this skill, you'll get 5 fault lines around your character. We have 2 points into Inexhaustible, 1 point into Mantle Strike, and then 4 points into Crust Rupture. That's critical multiplier 100%, which is huge, and bear in mind all the different ways we have in our kit to actually get a crit rating. Now from there, what we want to do is put 5 points into Brutish Engagement. This is absolutely amazing. Now it's fully effective within 2 meters, so you near enough want to use it when you are on top of the enemy, but if you do that, it's a more multiplier of 100%, so you're doubling your damage if you use this when you're right next to an enemy, which is just awesome. Now with 3 points left, what I would do is put 2 into this particular one here, increase the area slightly, and then 1 point into Terraform and Clash to increase the range. We wouldn't put too many points into this because we want to use this node when we're just on top of the enemy anyway. Once again, we have a quick infographic summary here. The order that you see these nodes listed is the order I would recommend putting your points in. So the specializations were Swipe, Warcry and Werebear form, as well as Fury Leap and also Upheaval. So that is a breakdown of one of my favourite levelling builds in last Epoch. Now if you enjoyed this video, there's various other levelling guides on the channel for the different mastery classes as well. There's a ton of other guide content as well, so do feel free to check that out. But thanks for tuning in for this particular one. Stay safe, I'll see you all again soon.